Hi, it's Anthony Meisner, Land Title. Came to bring you your first to know update for the city of Longmont, and we really have a lot to talk about. Normally this time of year, we see that consistent shift in the market where, things might be seasonally slowing down. But right now, look at this $700,000 average sales price. It's 100,000 below this time last year. But I don't want to raise any red flags. Don't panic. It is 12.5% off, but we had obviously a very clearly missed month for the last couple of years in November, where higher priced homes were selling instead of closer to our median. And this month, our median said 600,000, clearly 6.4% below this time last year, but above where we were in October. So it kind of needs a second check, right? But if we look at the condo townhouse market, the average was very similar to last year, obviously a low point in the market, very similar to what we saw in July. Our composition to sales is very clearly out of whack right now. Now, if we look at the median, same thing happened there. Way lower priced condo townhouses were selling in the city of Boulder last month, 11.5% below where they were before. So if we want to look at it from a second sort of lens, let's look at it by price per square foot. $267 in the average. It's down 7.3% from this time last year. But last year, high month in the off season, this fourth quarter can always be a little misleading, but we're kind of right in that same vein we've been all year. It is slightly below where we were a year ago. So maybe that 7% mark isn't too far off. And if you look at the condo townhouse market, it has been all over the place this year, but another indication as we kind of look through the trend of that orange line that $251 per square foot might be fairly similar to what we should be expecting right now, 7.7% below. Everything's kind of leading to some compression in the marketplace and the sales price. Now, why does that happen? It happens because we have so much inventory on the market, 353 homes on the market, still about 12% more than we had this time last year. We definitely have seen some stuff come off the market, right? Frustrated sellers, expiring listings, whether they come back next year or not, it's hard to tell. But for right now, you can really tell that 11.7% increase in active units has created some of this environment. Now, it obviously clearly have seen a seasonal slowdown for the new listings on the market, minus 11% from this time last year, but also just from October to November, that 47% swing should not be a surprise to anyone. We see this pretty traditionally in the marketplace. We only listed 87 new homes last month. Interestingly enough, we put 84 of them under contract. So we put most of what we put on the market under contract, but we did have that major swing in new inventory slowing down, which is good because without as many buyers there active in the marketplace, that really could create some inventory situation where the month supply of inventory did actually drop from 3.4 to 3 months of inventory, and it's still up about 7% from this time last year. So there's more inventory. The buyers are very stable. They're a little bit less than they were this time last year, but luckily sellers have not come out in force over this time of year. Now, if you look at market activity, I guess this really tells you, what does it feel like to be a buyer or seller in the marketplace? It's taken 59 days to go from active to under contract. Last year, we had an abnormally low November, so that 50% increase shouldn't be a huge shock, but it is very normal that we trend up this time of year. And so 60 days in the MLS really is not that big of a deal. It's just showing you that it takes 2 months to go under contract. Now, the percentage sold price to list price at 98.7% is very similar to this time last year. This basically doesn't tell us a whole lot because it doesn't include concessions, it doesn't include price drops, and both of those seem to be a little bit more than they were this time last year. But it is very flat, right? And it kind of has been all year, so nothing to raise any red flags there. The one thing that I think is a shining light would be the average showings to pending, and this has happened across the county. It also happened in Longmont, where it's taking less showings to go under contract. So the people out there that are actually looking at homes are very likely to buy something, right? They're motivated, which is what it really tells us. So it's a good news that it only takes 12 and a half showings because we're really only getting about 4.9 showings per month on average, a little bit less than this time last year, but very similar to what we've been feeling and been seeing. So it's actually a whole showing more than we had a month ago, which is very abnormal for the November timeframe outside of last year, right? So this is an interesting one. We can look at other data and other submarket information to get better guesses if you're, working with buyers or sellers. But please reach out to me if you have any other questions, concerns, and if you need any other information. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I put out lots of content like this. Hopefully, we'll catch you next time. Thank you.